Welcome back to ciLiving. The school year is kicking off for many students, which means we are getting closer to the fall. The Scovill Zoo has plenty of activities for the changing seasons, and here with all of the details and an animal ambassador is Zoo Director Heather Purdue. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be back.
All right, so who have you brought for us today?
His name is Pierce, and he is a lesser Hedgehog Tenrec. Although the name itself is kind of misleading because they're actually not related to hedgehogs. They're more closely related to shrews, moles, and like you mentioned earlier, elephants and manatees. So, but you know, they get the name obviously from all those spines on his back. So they have that similarity there, and that's just a line of defense. So if you were a predator and you came across this guy in the wild, he might look like something tasty to eat, but obviously he would kind of curl up in a ball, and he would have these protective spines to help, you know, just protect himself.
And something else that is really interesting about these Tenrecs is I was noticing he smells a little bit like a skunk today, and you were sharing with me why that is. Can you tell our viewers why he maybe has a very interesting odor today?
Too bad the TV isn't scratch and sniff right now.
Yes.
But yeah, he does smell kind of skunky. They do a lot of scent marking, and so a lot of times, especially around their eyes, it will get milky, and it's just their scent glands. And then they call it self-anointing, where then he would rub it on himself, and then he would rub himself on his surroundings. So even me just moving him, you know, traveling here from the zoo, I did grab pine shavings out of his own habitat, but again, it's a change in the environment. So he wants just to make sure that every other Tenrec knows that this is his space.
That this is now his.
Yes.
He has claimed it, and he is taking up the space.
Yes.
So they're from Madagascar. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, they are, again, you know, Madagascar is such a unique country in that it has a lot of wildlife that is very isolated and that you don't see in other countries around the world. There are Tenrecs that are in Africa, but the most Tenrec species are found only on Madagascar, including this guy. And he would be found mainly on the ground. They are semi-arboreal, so that means that they can climb, and a lot of times they would spend their time during the day in the trees. That's where they would nest, and they would sleep during the day, and then they would be roaming around at night. So they eat a lot of different insects. They will scavenge, so they will, you know, eat some carrion if they find it, and some vegetables and fruits and grass. So, I mean, predominantly insectivores, but they will eat a little bit of extra stuff as well.
That's what I was wondering, what their food is. So, like, I feel the little spines on his back, is that his defense mechanism, or how is he going to defend himself?
He would normally, I mean, he's pretty relaxed since we use them for programs so much, and that's part of the reason I do like using them, because they are a little bit more social than the hedgehogs that we have had in the past. And you could see, but he would normally roll up, and he would kind of strengthen his back and everything, and then those spines would be a little bit more prickly than, you know, like if a snake or if another larger mammal came across it, that maybe they wouldn't. And these guys actually will fight back a little bit more than a hedgehog. So he may have, especially if it's another predator around the same size, he will sometimes go after them and try to bite and stuff as well.
And they don't throw their quills, right? Do hedgehogs throw their quills, or is that kind of a myth that you see in cartoons?
So these are spines. So yeah, these are they do kind of shed them just like hairs. Quills, like a porcupine, they can release them. So then, you know, you'll see dogs and stuff, especially in North America, that come across North American porcupine. They will have all those quills in there.
I see.
And those quills are more like, you know, the detachable, and again, it doesn't hurt the animal. They're able to get away then, while that predator then has those quills stuck inside.
It's having a slight issue.
Having an issue, yeah, right.
And then if you have several Tenrecs together and you get a litter of Tenrecs, how do they, you know, reproduce? How many are you going to get?
They can have pretty large litters. They can have up to 10, although the average is 5 to 7. And at our zoo, we only have boys, so we do not breed them. And they are actually solitary. So a lot of times when people, you know, they always imagine animals should always be house with other animals, and
Sure.
that is obviously true for social animals, but some animals would just naturally be solitary in the
Right.
wild, except when they come across you know, the opposite sex in time for breeding. And so then those, you know, they will need to do you know, during the breeding season, just to make sure that they are reproducing. But other than that, yeah, they're solitary, and they would just be kind of, again, living, and that's why it's so important them too to have that scent marking, so they can let the other Tenrecs know that this is their territory and you need to stay out.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for bringing this Tenrec for us. You are so adorable, and thank you for all that information.
Oh, you're welcome.